You're obviously a man manager, a motivator. We obviously, hopefully at the tail end of this pandemic, Ian, what would you say to viewers who are feeling a bit down in the dumps and a bit worried about the future? How would you motivate Britain out of this pandemic?
Well, what another great question, mate. This is, it's very dear to my heart. I hope that we come out better human beings out of this pandemic, where we all put aside greed and we care for our fellow man or woman and look after each other. There's no reason on earth, apart from greed, that we shouldn't be looking after everybody now.
Yeah.
And that should be our utmost, particularly our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren on the planet that they're on. And I can't believe that so much bureaucracy gets in the way, and there's nobody who could just say, I'll tell you what, this is what we're doing. We almost need to hand it over now, because some of these young people are out there saying what top politicians should be saying, and they're trying to force them to do it. There's an advert on the telly, a little boy says, I'm only 6, how can it be me who does this? Sort it out. And I hope we come out of this better human beings and more caring about our planet, to make sure that the people after us, like the ones who fought in the wars for us, we wouldn't be here without them now. They did it for us. We should be doing it and fighting for the world now, because if we're not, and this greed carries on, our great-grandchildren probably won't be here. So let's come out of it, meeting each other, greeting each other, and caring, really, truly caring about one another.
Too right. And speaking of caring about one another, and I couldn't agree more with what you said, Ian, I echo every word. Let's talk about football and human rights. Of course, the World Cup next year is happening in Qatar. A pretty dreadful record on human rights abuses. What do you think about that? Have the authorities sold out?
Wow. Yeah. I was against it right from the off. Sport can't be bought, but in a lot of the world, corruption is in the way of people with good ideas. Luckily for us, football should stay out of that. When the Big Six wanted to take over a few months ago or a year ago, at last, football supporters went out there and said, no, we don't want part of that. And, thank God for that, So much should be done about it. And, money shouldn't be able to buy everything. And the timing of this. But unfortunately, the higher you go in life, my dad told me this, the higher you go, the more bullshit you see, if I can say that, the more unrealistic things get to. And it's just red tape. I like someone like Simon Jordan, who's been there, done it, and it didn't go well, and he's still out in the world now and makes an awful lot of sense, because things can't go right all the time. You've got to learn from your mistakes, and are we actually doing that at this moment in time? I don't, you should be accountable for what you do and accountable for what you say, and really mean it. So, I hope, I believe there's much more good than bad in the world, but, people are fighting over money the world over, aren't they? And that can't be right, can it?
It cannot be right. There's such inequality. How about the vaccine? If you don't mind me asking you about this, as a former manager and, again, soon to be a manager, no doubt. Novak Djokovic, of course, in hot water in Australia because he won't declare, Ian, his vaccination status. What about the beautiful game of football? What do you think about players in the Premier League and in the Championship who won't get jabbed?
Yeah, it's a very difficult subject. I believe in the spirit of free speech, but my players had to do what I told them. I would explain to them why I wanted them to do it. If they didn't believe, I would get rid of them, and I would bring someone in who did. So, you can only stand and fall by your own word as a manager, but I can only speak for myself. And, we haven't made this up. This is out there, and this is real. And I've had 2 jabs and my booster because my wife is in a vulnerable state. She's had cancer years ago, and You know, I didn't think that playing football was safe, to be honest, because how can you play football and stay 2 meters away from somebody, you know? So, you know, it was all very, very, very difficult. And I got to be honest, that's probably why I'm not in a managerial post anymore, because I didn't agree with that. I wanted us to come out of this. I realised in horror that we were just entertainment, a wonderful entertainment that you can't describe when your family pass it down to you. Most people love football because somebody special in their family they spent time with and brought them into it, you know. So, you know, the game itself is absolutely vital to our nature in the United Kingdom. And at every level it is important, so we should be sharing it out. So I believe my players, I would have wanted them and I would have sat them down, I would have brought an expert in to explain to them why, what the vaccine does, how it works, what it's going to do to them, and I would get them to make a more informed decision. That's how I would have felt, and I would have wanted to try and push them towards having, I don't know what people are scared of. I don't understand why they're scared of a vaccine or scared that the government will be tracing us everywhere we go. And well, just leave your phone at home. You know, why have you got to have your phone with you? Don't make sense. I don't understand, you know, but surely a vaccine will help you.
Well, absolutely. Now, a couple of other things to talk to you about, Ian, and it's such a privilege to have you on the show. There's only one openly gay footballer in the world. I'm sure that you know more than one gay footballer, but there's obviously a climate in which gay men who play football don't want to come out. Josh Cavallo plays in Australia. He's been on this programme, a brilliant guy, I think quite a talented footballer as well, Ian. He's been on social media today saying he was subjected to homophobic abuse whilst playing for Adelaide United yesterday. Do you think that we'll ever have a time where gay footballers can come out?
I hope so. I've literally just taken my wife Kim away to Brighton, and their supporters get hammered, don't they, because of how wonderfully free and open that city or town is. You know, at the end of the day, I don't care what someone does. It's up to them.
Yeah.
I have my own views on things, and as long as they don't hurt other people and they don't force themselves upon other people, if it's with consenting adults, what's it to do with me? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be peeking into your window, Mark, to find out what you're doing. It's none of my business. So, you know, as long as people play football the right way and try and do what they try and be in teammates, then I'm glad that we're not all the same. That's how I feel.